All right, everybody. Good afternoon, late afternoon now, and we got to talk about some of these injuries with the Seahawks, and of course, maybe even more importantly, the Buccaneers. Actually, I don't think there's much of a maybe about it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. There's not going to be a lot of super illuminating information in this video, unfortunately. Not that this isn't important, not that we aren't going to learn some stuff that is valuable, but in terms of like new information, in terms of like something that is actually going to show us something that wasn't evident yesterday, it's a little bit thin, mostly because Tampa Bay is dragging their feet for whatever reason, and I'll get to that later in the video. First though, let's take 60 seconds. I'll tell you guys about Sleeper. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the app, the Sleeper app? Download it. I'm going to let you in on a little something now. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. Yes, this year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there is so much more to this app. There are live stats, real-time updates, and visualizations on all stats. News feed is lightning fast. You get updates on your favorite players and teams. There is a chat you can use in real time to engage with other users about plays and performances. All kinds of fun stuff like that over there. So download the Sleeper app, the #1 sports app today. Experience it yourself. Use promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. SBN promo code. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So, Seahawks side, we got Brady Henderson with the latest. No changes. And that's what I mean when I say there isn't necessarily a lot of new information. Not to say that there isn't something we can still pick up here. Unfortunately, most of what we can pick up would be bad news. If we're going to learn anything from this new injury report, it's not really anything good. Now, to start with the good news, I guess Nick Eamon-Wari was a full participant today after being a full participant yesterday. So there was no big setback. There was no indication that this is going to take another week. Looks like we're getting Eamon-Wari back for this game. So that's the silver lining here. Cody White was also a full participant. I'm not thinking about that one too much, admittedly, because he doesn't really play that much. But the rest of this, things didn't go the way we wanted to go, period. Things did not go the way we wanted, and it's time to get a little bit concerned. Josh Jones, another DNP. Now that one's whatever, right? He's a backup tackle. DeMarcus Lawrence, DNP. That one would be rough, but it wouldn't really be that surprising because we know, right? We know that D-Law is an older player. We know that the injuries he gets that would maybe not keep a 25-year-old player out are going to keep him out. It's not a particularly big shock if he misses this game. Remember, we have a 17-game season now. There's going to be a lot of load management type stuff. So D-Law is probably not going to play this weekend, and that I didn't expect him to play all 17 games this year anyway. I don't think that was a reasonable expectation. However, Julian Love and Devin Witherspoon were DNPs today, and I didn't really think too much of them not practicing on Wednesday, and I assumed it was just kind of giving two veteran players that they trust a day off. But now that we're here on Thursday and nothing has changed, it's time to start wondering just a little bit what is going on here. Is this going to be like a year-long thing where every week they're just kind of battling to get back on the field, and some weeks it'll be good and some weeks it won't be? Are we already there? It's a little bit frustrating because they played that whole game against the Cardinals. They were out there for, I think, every snap or very close to every snap. Things seemed like they were okay. They didn't get hurt in any obvious, visible way. They made it through that whole game. I mean, Witherspoon was out there on the last defensive snap of the game. And same with Julian Love. And then we have the mini bye week. So we're thinking, okay, if there are any issues, we've got extra time for them to clear up. And if these guys cannot play on Sunday, then we're going to have to start wondering, okay, what are we going to be dealing with this year? Can we count on these guys? Is this just going to be something they're dealing with all season? And in the case of Julian Love, it's a hamstring. That is definitely something that can linger. It kind of makes sense, but in the case of Witherspoon, the knee injury, a knee like that could be trouble. So at this point, there's a real chance neither guy plays tomorrow, which would be very disappointing and concerning. Because again, you can't really trace this injury back to something that concretely and obviously happened on Thursday last week. So I don't know. It's not great. I'm not super enthused about any of that. I guess the other good news is we didn't have any additions to this practice report, but nothing moved in the right direction. Nothing moved positively. So hard to not be a little bit concerned, but that is what we got right now. Now let's go over to the Buccaneers side, or at least let's try to. And the reason why I say that is because, to be perfectly honest, the Buccaneers are slow rolling this a little bit. They have not released their practice report, even though they had practice this morning, and they're an East Coast team. Their injury report should come out like 3 hours before ours. So it's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on. But the only good information I was able to find, the closest thing I could find was this. A list of players who were practicing and not practicing against, I'm sorry, not against, but today in Tampa. So, not practicing, we have Mike Evans, who we already know is out this weekend pretty much. Bucky Irving, at this point, I seriously doubt he'll be able to play, so I think they're going to be down their top running back. Jamel Dean, starting cornerback, did not practice, probably out, and his nominal backup, Benjamin Morrison, is also not practicing, doesn't look good for him. And I guess you could even throw Christian Izien, who doesn't really play that much for them, but that's a guy maybe they would have wanted a little bit out of, with Dean and Morrison presumably out. So their secondary's very, very beat up. Big problems there. Now, we did get a list of players that did practice today, which is good. Unfortunately, we don't know if it was limited or full. And that would be good information to have, to be perfectly honest. I would appreciate having had that information. But what we can say, Baker Mayfield was practicing, which I don't think there was any doubt he was going to play in this game anyway. Tristan Wirfs practicing, naturally. Levante David, he just kind of gets days off every now and then because of his age. So I don't think there's an injury there. Godwin practicing. Again, probably less than 100%, but he'll be out there. Zion McCollum, which is now a very big deal. Not that there was any real doubt he was going to play, but Zion McCollum, he looks like he's good to go. And with all the injuries they have at corner, they need him very badly. Hassan Reddick, their top pass rusher, practicing. He was projected to practice yesterday, so it's not a surprise, even if he's not 100%. Tyke Smith. Someone pointed out in my comments yesterday, by the way, that Tyke Smith actually starts. I actually didn't know that. I thought he was like their third safety. Apparently, he is starting alongside Winfield. So, he looks okay. Logan Hall practicing. That's fine. Greg Gaines. This is the kind of the big one. This is the big move, right? Greg Gaines, there was some concern, but if he's practicing on Thursday, that's a good sign. We don't know how much he practiced, so things are headed in the right way for him. Charlie Heck, their right tackle now because Godecki's out, practiced, and Sterling Shepard also practiced, which that's a big deal now too because he's their number 3 receiver behind Godwin and Egbuka because of all the injuries they've got there. All right, that's it for the Buccaneers side of things. Real quick, I am going to jump over and see if we have anything official from the Buccaneers yet on X, and the answer is no. So yeah, I mean I have to get this video out there. I can't wait forever. But for whatever reason, Tampa Bay is kind of slow rolling their Thursday practice report. Not really sure what to make of it. Maybe I just can't find it. But I found a couple of Buccaneers reporters who said no, it's not out yet in the last half hour. So it is what it is. This is still fairly sufficient information. This still gives us a pretty good idea of what we're looking at this weekend. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, but some of these guys who are practicing, that doesn't mean they're going to be effective. Hassan Reddick, if he's less than 100%, that's kind of a big deal. Greg Gaines, especially with all the pressure they put on Greg Gaines to be an important player for them this year, if he's not at 100%, that's a big problem. Same with a guy like a Sterling Shepard and, of course, Charlie Heck, who's starting for them at this point. We'll see. We'll see. If the practice report does come out later today and it's radically different than what this tweet represents, then maybe I'll make another video. But keep in mind, I am going to be streaming in about 2 hours here on YouTube, Facebook, and X, doing like the midweek check-in. And obviously, we might just discuss it there. All right, that's it for the injury report. Everybody have a good day. Go Hawks. Again, this is just the best I can do right now. Not great news for the Seahawks. Tampa Bay's obviously got bigger problems than us, though. Okay, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your Thursday. And again, I hope to see you guys tonight in the midweek check-in stream.